Welcome to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, created and hosted by Scott Knudsen, to explore the crossroads of horses and business. Now here's your host, Scott Knudsen.
Hi, and welcome to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. Thank you so much for joining us today. Whether you're listening to us on the radio on KCAA, our NBC affiliate out in California, or watching our podcast on one of our many platforms, we appreciate it. Today, we have a very special guest. We're going to have a lot of fun today. She is a U.S. dressage rider, Sarah Mason-Beaty, and Sarah is also a great entrepreneur. I can't wait for the show. I've been looking forward to it for a few weeks. And Sarah, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Scott. You and your team have made this so painless, and I'm really excited to join you today and get to have this conversation.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, it's all my team. It's not me. I promise you that. They help so much, and Steve and all the guys, they're so wonderful. So we're so happy you're on the show. So let's just take it all the way back. So when did you start riding horses?
I'm really excited to be able to tell you all that. And I also hope I don't get too long-winded. As you mentioned, I'm a dressage rider, and I don't know if this would be helpful or not, but before I even get into my origin story, I could give you just a very quick synopsis or explanation of what dressage is.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Super. So dressage is an equestrian discipline between horse and rider, involving the execution of precise movements by the horse in response to barely perceptible signals, or what we call aids, from the rider. So executed at the highest level, it's supposed to show off the suppleness, power, exhibit the partnership and harmony between the horse and rider in the performance. So if I was going to relate it to something almost like couple skating, the degree of difficulty at the highest levels of dressage is immense. What the horse and rider have to work on through the movements together, but it looks seamless and effortless. And similar to skating, there's a panel of judges watching the performance between the horse and rider, and they are scoring each movement. And at the end, those scores are added up to create an average. So the movements are given a score between 0 and 10, 0 being the movement was not executed, and 10 being just perfection, really showing off that harmony. So 100% on a dressage test would be the highest score you could get. That's almost unattainable, which makes it that much more fun, and really a lifelong mastery to not only train your horse to understand and be a willing and excited participant of that partnership, but to then master the sport as much as you can to get the highest scores consistently as you can.
That was great. I was going to ask you that. So I love what you say on your website, the art of movement.
Yeah.
Because it's so beautiful to watch.
Thank you. I think when it's executed the way it's supposed to be in the sport, it really is harmonious and flawless looking, much like watching the ballet, or like I said, ice skating, just looking almost effortless, even though, as a rider, any athlete doing a performing art sport, that there's a lot that's going into it.
That's really cool. Performing art. I love that. I love that. I haven't heard that before. But I see like the Western disciplines are trying to do more dressage, and maybe they were and didn't realize it, because of the name.
It's funny. I've been at some competitions recently where they've crossed disciplines. They've had the dressage riders there and another discipline there, and it makes the shows next level fun, because you are not only getting to experience your discipline and cheer on everyone surrounding you, but then also get to see this other wonderful discipline that you, at least for me, I know very little about disciplines outside of dressage, ironically, because I've been doing that for 30 years now, for 3 decades, only dressage. I started in dressage, and that is all I've ever wanted to do. So
that's so cool. Yeah. Well, there's nothing better than just seeing the rider and the horse just as one. And that's what every horse person strives for, whatever discipline it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
And
a
I tell
special
people all
feeling.
the time at the highest levels, I think it's very difficult, if not impossible, to compete a horse at Grand Prix, which is the highest level of dressage,
Hmm.
when they are not only a willing participant, but truly enjoying what you've taught them, which is why it takes so long. In dressage, for example, the horses that are competing Grand Prix, that are riding on the US teams, such as Pan American, World Equestrian Games, Olympics, those horses are between the ages of generally 11 to 16 or 17, maybe 10 if you're lucky, when they're started under saddle at 3 or 4. So that means every day, each hour that you're working with them, because I mean, let's face it, and I'll go into this later, but it's part of the reason why it's so important to have a string of horses when you're making it to the top is
Mm.
those horses may only be working in their discipline 3 or 4 hours a week. So those 3 or 4 hours compounded week after week, year after year, you have to be communicating with them so clearly and so effectively that they are wanting to do the work for you. And they're also gaining the agility and muscling in the right spots to be able to do those really difficult movements that we're asking them at the highest levels.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And you know, when you're in that spot, that sweet spot, when your horse is ready and is a full partner, whether it's the arena, the ranch, you know, you can feel it, or dressage,
Yeah,
you know, it's just a special feeling.
the best.
It really is. You know, I go get some of the rancher with some of our performance horses, you know, and they see the halter. They're already dropping their head like they can't wait to go do something.
I know.
And that's a
Yeah.
special deal. And you put the art of dance with it, like dressage, it's just so beautiful.
I admire so much what you're doing. It's really cool to see across the disciplines how just that base level rapport is so important with these animals.
Right. I love that. I love that. So how does I'm going to jump around. There's so many questions I want to ask you. So how do you select a horse to maybe start, or how to ride at a high level?
Yeah, that's a great question. And okay, so I'll answer this and then I'll go back to your other one, which was origin story. So this would tie into your question of how I select horses. This,
Hmm.
I think, ties well into kind of a later part of my story, which is sort of where I am now, in that it to me it takes a team. I import my horses from the Netherlands, and so that means I go over there to scout horses, and I don't speak Dutch. I have now built connections over there, but when I was first scouting horses over there, I didn't know anyone. And I feel incredibly fortunate that my coach, whose name is Kelly Casey Mykrantz, she's an incredible coach and is also a wonderful friend. She has had a relationship with a couple named Bob and Esther. They run Tinwald horses over in the Netherlands. She has known them for almost 2 decades now. And when Kelly started coaching me, I pretty early on met Bob. He would come over from Holland to the US several times a year. So we got to know each other very well. He also got to know my riding very well. And then 4 years ago, I had fundraised enough money to syndicate my first horse, or not the first horse I owned, but like the first horse I was going to purchase through syndication. Right. And Europe is ahead of us, or has traditionally been ahead of us in their breeding programs. The US has some incredible breeding programs for dressage horses now, but traditionally Europe has been stronger in breeding dressage horses. So I went over there for my first scouting experience, and my husband Chris went with me, and it's the most unreal. I mean, an 11 on a scale of 1 to 10 from fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's so cool. Bob put together, I think, that first trip, 30 young horses, top quality young horses that I rode over a 3-day period to select from. And again, this is a ton of work he puts in on the back end,
Sure.
Gathering those horses that he thinks would fit me well. So we drive through the Netherlands, through beautiful countryside, to barn after barn of just the most beautiful properties you've ever seen. And then I would sit on the horses there. We get back in the car. We talk about what we like and what we didn't like. Everyone gets a vote. If there's something that's not sitting with you exactly right in intuition, you say that. Everyone's opinion is really respected in that car. So that hopefully at the end of the trip, you're seeing, because there's so many horses, you're seeing things really clearly as to which one may be the best fit for you. I love starting with the young horses because you have a huge runway of building rapport with them, bringing them along. They're going to be less expensive to acquire than horses that have a large amount of training. So when I sit on a horse, well, first off, I'm looking for a horse that fits me size-wise. I'm not I'm a pretty small person. Well, I'm 5'7", but pretty tiny. And so I want something that physically matches me well.
Makes sense.
And then even as a young horse, I want to see a horse that can both push through the stride and has the idea of carry. It might be, they might be too young to ask for collection, which is a really important element of dressage, but they have that idea in their head. And then I want a huge heart. I want something that I feel like when I'm asking it to do what I'm asking it to do, even if it knows almost nothing, that it has a high degree of wanting to do that. And then I like something very sensitive, like maybe something that would intimidate other people. I really, really like a very sensitive horse because I think at the upper levels that really pays off.
Yeah, it makes sense because you don't want your not cues, but your movement. You want it to say so flush, just the lightest movement you make. You want that horse to feel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So, in the last 4 years, we've done 3 trips to acquire horses through Bob, and when I take someone else with me, I try to link 2 days onto Amsterdam on the front end. Like my husband went with me the first time, I went alone, and then my mother went with me this past time. And it's such a wonderful time to get to explore that city. It's one of my favorite places in the world. It also gives us some time to recover from jet lag, and then Bob picks us up and we're off to the races. I went in May, and over 4 days we saw, I think, 55 horses.
Incredible.
So yeah, it's incredible. It's a ton of work on his end.
It has to be that organized. That's a lot of horses to ride and look at for sure.
Yeah, it's unlike any experience I've ever had in my entire life. So I look forward.
It's got to be fun. It's got to be fun. And so we're about to take a break, but there's a lot of people that watch our show that aren't in the horse world, but they love entrepreneurs and they love the stories. So when we come back from break, we're going to ask Sarah, how do you get horses from the Netherlands back home to America? So we'll be right back with the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show.
Scott will be right back with more.
Hi, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, heard on KCAA Fridays, 3 p.m. Pacific. I'd like to talk to you about something I'm very passionate about. Those that know me know I love my coffee. In the morning, afternoon, and even late in the evening, I enjoy a good cup of coffee almost any time of the day. Now, my team at the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show has been working for several months on creating and introducing our own brand of coffee. We wanted to make sure that we got it just right. We don't want to put our name on anything unless we're 100% certain that it's the best product available, and we've finally done it. We have created a wonderful line of coffees, 13 fantastic flavors offered in whole bean, ground, and K-cups, any way you like to brew your coffee. Now, each of our coffees carries our brand, the very same brand that we put on our horses, our trailers, and our chaps. So you know that this is a quality product. And we only use 100% Arabica beans, the very best beans available. Just listen to some of these wonderful blends and flavors. Jamaican Me Crazy, Honduran San Marcos, Chocolate Cherry Amaretto, Breakfast Blend, and my very favorite, Haley's Blend. A coffee so good, we named it after my daughter. You can order these coffees today by going online to javacowboy.com. That's javacowboy.com. And if you order today, you can get an extra 10% off your final purchase just by entering the promo code COWBOY on checkout. Remember, that's promo code COWBOY for an extra 10% off. Just go to javacowboy.com to order your coffee today. Hello, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I want to tell you about a product I've tried and I love, and I feel the Cowboy Entrepreneur audience will as well. It's Rebellious Infusions. Rebellious Infusions, they're little packets of flavor. And you know, it gets hot in South Texas, over 100 degrees every day. And I like my water, but it's water. So I use these infusions, put them in my water. It makes it cold. It's great flavor, zero sugar, zero calories. It's pure energy infusions. Rebellious Infusions. Go to drinkrebellious.com or on all social media platforms. Drink Rebellious. Hi, and welcome back to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. Today we have Sarah Mason-Beaty on. And Sarah, we were just talking about going to the Netherlands to look for horses. And then when you select the perfect horse or horses, how do you get them back to the United States?
First and foremost, we have to make an offer on the horse, and what they're asking may not be what we end up paying. There's always a negotiation. And after that is settled, we schedule a vet check. And the horse goes to a local vet. I have one in particular that I love using over there for what we call pre-purchase exam, where the entirety of the horse is looked over, from the heartbeat listened to radiographs, occasionally MRI'd something to make sure we like the way it looked. The horse is watched moving on soft ground, on hard ground. They do what are called flexion tests, where they isolate a particular joint. The horse's leg is held up, and then after a certain amount of time, it's put down and the horse trots off. So all of these are different modalities to see if there's any lameness detected. The entire pre-purchase is put together. If I'm not there in person, it's also filmed for me. So it's sent to me so I can watch the whole thing in the US. And if we're happy with the way everything went, blood is drawn to make sure that the horse doesn't have any type of disease. It's sent off. That process generally takes 7 to 10 days, which is the most painful, because you think to yourself, okay, all of this hard work that's been put in, not just the shopping for the horse and selecting it, but, on the back end, the fundraising that I've done to syndicate the horse, it's like a lot of hopes and dreams seem to be coming together, and then it just stalls. You have to wait for that blood work to come in. You don't transfer the money or anything until you get the clear on the blood. And then what we do is, once the money has been transferred, and you can do that through your bank. I've used a currency service called OFX, which I typically get better currency rates from than my bank. So that money is wired. Once everything is done, Bob and Esther pick up the horse that we purchased, and they keep it at their place for about a week. They ride it, they observe it. Again, just getting a final stamp of approval that everything's okay and the way we want it to be.
So describe what it's like on that plane with a crate and a horse, because they're taken care of so well. Yeah. And that's your horse, So I know. Did you get to watch, or how was he arranged in the airplane?
Yeah, they are put right next to each other in however many the crate holds. Generally, it's 3. And they're given food and water throughout the entire flight. And the crates are tarped, so they can't see what's going on, which is actually comforting to them.
Right, absolutely.
In the horses that I have personally brought over, plus all of the horses that have come over in the barn that I'm at, which is probably close to 30, somewhere between 30 and 40, not one of them has had a difficult time with that cool ride, which is amazing. Yeah, I mean, I think they're really comforted by the fact that they're with other horses because they're herd animals. They're with people who know how to handle them. Right. And so each step, although it's nerve-wracking for me because I've just made this investment, or my team has made this investment, I have to say it's been, in all the times that we've done it, a really seamless process. It's actually when they get dropped off to you and you're like, this is awesome. This is what I chose, but now I need to get to know you and
Yeah.
be happy and comfortable here. That's sort of the shock to the system.
That has to be so exciting for you to go there and look through 40 or 50 horses and select your one or two, and then they come back to your place.
Yeah. And sometimes we'll take a trip and for whatever reason, that's not successful. Either we select one and it unfortunately doesn't pass the vet check, or we just don't find one that's quite the right fit. And then I go back over. That happened the first time I went over. We found one, it didn't pass the vet. And then I went back 6 weeks later. The first time we went over, my husband and I flew KLM direct. So it's like a 10-hour flight. We stayed in Amsterdam 2 days before. That was like very romantic and special. It was my first time. So it was just so fun.
Wow.
Yes. Then we didn't find the horse, and come hell or high water, I was going to go back over immediately. But on my return flight over there, instead of going through KLM, I booked on WOW Air, which I'm not sure even exists anymore, or like it went away and maybe now it's back, but it's a no frills airline. So, no water or nothing, no Wi-Fi.
You had to fly it? Did you have to fly?
I did. And the seats are like cardboard, but they route you through Iceland. So, I went through Iceland. Bob picks me up. We had a terrific trip. But the problem was I actually, saw so many nice horses. There were 2. It came down to 2. And I thought to myself, I think I know what the right one is. And my whole team thought, okay, this is the one. But there's always maybe when you're that close, a question in your mind. So the most painful trip was on the way back. I don't know, instead of a 10-hour flight, being routed through Iceland, it's like a 17 or 18-hour trip with no Wi-Fi on the plane. I thought I was going to lose my mind. I couldn't communicate with my husband or my family to be like, please tell me I made the right decision. So it was just, it felt like I was on an island by myself, just in my own personal, and it's a great problem to have, right? When you're following your dream and your passion, and you feel like you're about to make this huge decision that's going to get you one step closer to your goal. It's the best problem to have. But I'll never forget. I must have been sweating.
It's the ultimate entrepreneur decision. Because it's emotional for sure. And it's important to the business, and it's a relationship you're about to build off of this horse. So it's a tough deal. And to be away from many phones for 17 hours, it's got to be tough. It had to be tough.
That layover in Iceland was helpful, but then to board and have to take that longest stretch back by myself. That was tough. And it's funny because the horse that we selected on that trip, he was 3 at the time. It's been 4 years, so he's 7 now. And he's incredible. I have no doubt in my mind that we made the right decision. So everything always works out the way it's supposed to.
That's great. I was going to ask you if you ended up with that horse. So that's awesome to hear.
I never looked back. I can't imagine not having him and having accomplished all of the things we have so far. He's only 7. So I just feel, I feel so lucky that it worked out the way it has. And like I said, the next one we bought from video, and this last one, was really special. We saw, I think, the nicest group of horses cumulatively that we've seen thus far. Wow. And my mom went with me, who I'm very close with and close with my family. We got back on May 2nd, and May 24th, I think it was, she was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. We did find a horse on that trip, Maxon. He's 5 years old, and he's now here with me in the US, and he's incredible. But that was that really threw our whole family for a loop. So it's been a tough time, even with I'll never regret taking that trip. It was a really,
Absolutely.
really, really special one for so many different reasons. And she has been such a supporter of my riding throughout my whole life. And she had not been there. And I kept, she'd hear all these stories and, she's there at every show and seeing all of my goals and dreams come to life. So getting to experience that with her was, there aren't enough words for it.
Yeah, I wouldn't think. That's so cool. Yeah. That's so cool. You got to take that trip with her and you have that horse, and so neat.
And there's a photo of Steve, I'm sure we'll throw up onto the reel. We got in 2 days before we started horse shopping, and it was King's Day in Amsterdam, which is the celebration of the King's birthday. And no one had been able to celebrate for the last 2 years because of COVID. And I don't know why, but we decided, okay, well, we're here. This is the only time probably. I mean, maybe we'll go back during King's Day, but we have to go into downtown Amsterdam and see what this is about. And I don't think we've ever experienced something that crazy. I mean, it was, the Dutch people know how to have the best time. And Amsterdam, even though there's a ton of canals and small streets, like along the canal itself is quite open. So you could just see a stretch of just everyone wearing orange, live music everywhere. These incredibly kind women offered to paint our faces for free. So we had face paint on. I mean, it was, something I will hold dear the rest of my life. So we went from that right into horse scouting and just an incredible experience. I actually found 2 horses during this past trip, but one did not pass the vet. So Maxon is the only one that came over.
It's so much fun taking trips with horses or about horses, and you just never know what you're going to come across. Yeah. That's half the fun is the trip.
Yeah, I completely agree. And when, like you said, when you find that one, that's the one you want to move forward with. It's
special.
It's so gratifying. Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's really
special. So when we come back from break on the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, we're going to ask Sarah, how do you get involved with dressage or with horses, and how she did, but also how you can. So we'll be right back on the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show.
Thank you for listening to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. Scott will be right back with more. For more information on Scott Knudsen, the Cowboy Entrepreneur, visit us online at cowboyentrepreneur.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, heard on KCAA Fridays, 3 p.m. Pacific. I'd like to talk to you about something I'm very passionate about. Those that know me know I love my coffee. In the morning, afternoon, and even late in the evening, I enjoy a good cup of coffee almost any time of the day. Now, my team at the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show has been working for several months on creating and introducing our own brand of coffee. We wanted to make sure that we got it just right. We don't want to put our name on anything unless we're 100% certain that it's the best product available, and we've finally done it. We have created a wonderful line of coffees, 13 fantastic flavors offered in whole bean, ground, and K-Cups. Any way you like to brew your coffee. Now, each of our coffees carries our brand, the very same brand that we put on our horses, our trailers, and our chaps. So you know that this is a quality product. And we only use 100% Arabica beans, the very best beans available. Just listen to some of these wonderful blends and flavors. Jamaican Me Crazy, Honduran San Marcos, Chocolate Cherry Amaretto, Breakfast Blend, and my very favorite, Haley's Blend. A coffee so good, we named it after my daughter. You can order these coffees today by going online to javacowboy.com. That's javacowboy.com. And if you order today, you can get an extra 10% off your final purchase just by entering the promo code COWBOY on checkout. Remember, that's promo code COWBOY for an extra 10% off. Just go to javacowboy.com to order your coffee today. Hello, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I want to tell you about a product I've tried and I love, and I feel the Cowboy Entrepreneur audience will as well. It's Rebellious Infusions. Rebellious Infusions, they're little packets of flavor. And you know, it gets hot in South Texas, over 100 degrees every day. And I like my water, but it's water. So I use these infusions, put them in my water. It makes it cold. It's great flavor, 0 sugar, 0 calories. It's pure energy infusions. Rebellious Infusions. Go to drinkrebellious.com or on all social media platforms. Drink Rebellious. Hi, and welcome back to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show with Sarah Mason-Beaty. And we were just talking about dressage and going to the Netherlands to look for horses to bring back. So now, Sarah, so how does somebody get involved in either the horse industry or dressage? Maybe they want to buy a horse to ride and take lessons, or maybe they want to do it from afar and have you help them. How does that work?
Thanks for asking, Scott. So I have to say, on the riding front and training, I'm probably the wrong person to, well, I could definitely put you in touch with someone to help wherever you are in the country. But for myself, I don't train clients. My focus is specifically on the horses that I have. My goal is to assemble or build a team of 5 to 6 horses and then bring those horses along the U.S. dressage pathways programs to the international levels of dressage to hopefully someday be eligible for teams to represent the U.S. on a team.
Awesome.
So that has been a very long and sometimes feeling slow progression towards that ultimate goal. But I've tried to design my life in a way that I maintain flexibility to be able to go in the country where I need to at certain times with the horses, or eventually, hopefully, take them over to Europe for international competition.
That's so cool.
It's a lot of work and a lot of planning, but I continue to try and analyze opportunities and see if the ones that come my way ultimately are a step towards the goal, the bigger picture, or if they are just a fantastic opportunity, but maybe not exactly in line with what that larger goal is. So, as I mentioned, my coach, Kelly, so I'm in the Bay Area of San Francisco, Northern California. My coach, Kelly, is incredible. She's a wonderful person, really easy to relate to. So for anyone in the Bay Area interested in looking to get into horses, then I would love to introduce them to Kelly or anyone else I know for riding. For anyone who has any interest in just spending time with horses, man, I would love to have them come out, meet my horses, watch me ride.
So
for
cool.
anyone interested in participating in a horse syndicate, so either owning part of a horse or helping contribute to my journey, my goals. There's a couple different ways that people do that now. And I mean, I won't surprise you when I say this, like every dollar that someone puts towards helping me achieve my goals there aren't enough words to really be grateful for that. And not only that from a financial perspective, but I just think about my journey thus far and the people who have extended a hand either for, to help me in business consulting and structuring of setting up those syndicates of, when I was young, giving me a job or an idea of a job so I could help pay for the horses. I mean, the mentors that I have in the sport who have been there, who have been to the Olympics. I mean, all of these people there aren't enough, and not to mention my husband, who's just an incredible support and rock. There aren't enough thanks to those people who have already helped me. So the mechanisms in which people financially help right now are either being a part of a horse ownership syndicate, which is comprised of 2 parts. There's the purchase price of a horse, which can either be done by one individual or by a group of individuals to spread out that amount of money of the purchase price. And then there's essentially a maintenance fee associated with the horse on an annual basis. So I don't take a single dollar of the money. It all goes to helping pay for board, competitions, training, vet bills, farrier bills. And we have, or I should say I have, a tax deductible mechanism for people doing that. So there's a foundation called SCES. It stands for Southern California Equestrian Sports. And it's set up specifically to help riders with international goals, with, podium goals, essentially, to to pay for their endeavors. And so anyone interested in contributing in a way that's tax deductible to them can contribute to SCES in my name, and then I can benefit from that for the horse expenses that I have. So the syndicate members that I have now, in two of three of my horses in the current string are syndicated. And so those syndicate members can have a tax write-off each year from that annual maintenance fee, essentially. So that's how it works in the syndicate. And then I've had people just incredibly generous and wanting to support my journey.
Very cool.
Donate to SCES. Yeah, completely outside of the syndicate.
You know, that's so cool. They want to get behind your story.
It's the only way I'm able to do
this. On your website, the pictures of the guy, the one gentleman who's a syndicate member. And I love that. You know, in horse racing, that's also a big deal. So someone that doesn't want to feed horses or clean stalls or be around or don't have the opportunity, they can still have a part ownership in a horse.
Yes.
And live that dream through you.
Yeah.
And that's a really cool.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. That's okay.
The benefits outside of that tax deductible donation, just like you said, getting to spend that time with the horse, following the journey. I send out newsletters that I put a lot of time into, video content, coming to hang out at the barn with your horse, watching competitions which right now happen throughout the United States, but hopefully the goal is someday to take that, not hopefully.
It'll happen.
Yeah, take it international and
sure.
Then have your syndicate members take that trip, get to watch their horse compete in the morning, and then go, I don't know, get to taste cheese and look at castles. Like, I just do really fun touristy things in some of the most beautiful locations throughout Europe. So, and I think just the relationships you form with those people, and it becomes, you know, very reaching outside of just connecting to have conversation and talk about horses. They really become such important members of my life. And I hope that I'm not.
It's funny. It starts as a financial partnership, but really quickly it goes to an emotional and a relationship based, you know, just because of you for sure. And also the horses, plus it gets them involved in something that maybe they couldn't do before. And it's so really cool. Fun.
Yeah. It's really, it has added such an incredible, like I said, it's the only way I'm able to do it is with their support. And then it's added such an incredible and fun element. I have this amazing team around me that's cheering for my success. And they also, you know, it's so important to have the string, right? Because horses, they develop at different stages. They get injured. You don't want to push them. Like I said, there maybe my horse is only working in the discipline of dressage 4 hours a week. So as a rider, my own timing and ability, I'm only going to reach the top if I have this group of horses that I'm able to continue to bring along to that shot at however far they can go. I mean, it's heartbreaking to think about working for, let's say, 35 years to have this one horse that isn't quite ready for the team or has an injury, because they do, and to not because you're pushing them or because something goes wrong in the training, but because, you know, just like kids, they fall and they hurt themselves.
Well, professional athletes, you know, that just happens sometime, and that's unfortunate. But
so I think of the string as, you know, you're not gonna win the game if you're a basketball team with not enough players on the court.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
Like, that's why the string is so important.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's a very similar thing.
Absolutely. I can't believe it's already winded down our time together. It's going so fast. So for someone that's never been on the road with a horse, do you have a fun horse story that you can share?
Oh my gosh. From the road. Yes. Okay, Scott, to be honest, I have so many stories that I would love.
I love it. See, that's not even a trick question.
We would need like 4 more hours. But one great one is when I was 14, we were taking the horse I had at the time down to a curring where essentially like there's different breed registries for horses. And so for this horse's breed registry, it was going to be looked at by a panel of judges. So we took it from Northern California down to Hanford, which is by Fresno. And my mom said I could invite a friend to go with us. So my mom has 2 teenage girls. Our very old Suburban is hooked to a trailer with my horse, whose name was Kayleigh in the back. So we made it down successfully to the curring. It went well. We are trailering back up, and we're really right in the middle of our trip, and the transmission blows on our old Suburban. And we were able to get a tow. We were able to get a tow with the Suburban and the trailer with the horse in it, which I don't think is legal.
Probably not.
No. To a gas station where we were left. They took the Suburban, and we just had the trailer, the horse on the tar, basically, and my mom with these 2 teenage girls at 5 p.m. So we called home to see if someone could get us, but it was going to be a good 3 hours before someone was going to be able to get down there. And I mean, I'm sure my mom wanted to run away and never come back, but
she's done.
And these 2 gentlemen pulled up in a very nice sports car and offered us a trade. They said, "We'll give you this car if you give us your horse." And honestly, like, we probably should have done it, but we didn't. We don't know how they would have gotten home, but yeah, they were very serious. Like the car was beautiful, and in hindsight, I'm sure my mom would have loved it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even see that curveball coming, man.
Yeah,
That's a trade for a horse for a horsepower. Isn't that something? You just never know. That's what's so fun about it. You never know what to expect. And I know you've been riding your whole life, and it's so cool. You have that entrepreneur mindset where if something is going a certain way and you want to do it something different, you just change up and figure out a way to do it.
Yeah. And I think particularly with the syndicates, they're LLCs. I do the bookkeeping on them. My syndicate members get K-1 tax documents at the end of the year. There's so much that goes into it from a business standpoint. There's legal agreements in place. I try to make that as simple and smooth as possible for anyone who wants to participate. But yeah, they are businesses, and if and when those horses are sold someday, then it's set up that those people who have supported me will then reap the financial benefits of those horses being sold. So,
I love that. I love that. I love they get to be a part of it and enjoy the journey of what a horse person does. It's a crazy life, but they get to be a part of it. I bet they love the newsletters.
I hope they do. I mean, I think it's such a nice thing to be able to, not just for the syndicate members, but like for people who have shown any interest, to be able to receive updates and, I embed videos into those updates, or in addition to the newsletter, send pictures or video content to just, if there's a period of time where someone's not able to come visit the horses and see them,
right,
that they can still feel connected to them. I also post a lot on, maybe not a lot, but I post consistently on Facebook and Instagram about the horses. So most of the syndicate members are tied into that, and so they get to see their horses that way too.
I love it. So what are your what's your Facebook and your social media sites so people can follow you and see what we're talking about?
That's a great question. So if you just Googled Sarah Mason-Beaty, I bet you anything my Facebook, Instagram, and website would all come up kind of in the top result. Okay.
Yeah, they sure do. And it's spelled Beaty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's such a fun watch, and the horses are just gorgeous, and it's so fun watching. You can just see the enthusiasm, excitement in your face when you're with them, and it's really neat.
What keeps my heart beating every
Absolutely.
day.
Absolutely. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for being on the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show.
Scott, thank you so much for having me. I would love to do this again sometime.
Absolutely. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
heck yeah.
California. Yeah, we'll make it happen. Also, I have to apologize to anyone watching. I thought I had mentioned this to you, Scott, at the beginning. this very sad room I'm sitting in with the one wreath that sort of looks like a halo
Yeah.
above my head. Yeah, I should have picked a better room, but
Hey, it's just what you do, you just entrepreneur it and deal
make it
with
work.
horses. And
Yeah.
I love it.
This
I
is better
love
than the barn office, so at least I don't live by here.
it. I love it. Well, Sarah, thanks for being on. And thank y'all for watching the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show.
Thanks. Talk to you later, Scott.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you to all the great sponsors of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. If you or your business is interested in being a sponsor of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, please call our office at 830-992-1786 or visit our website, cowboyentrepreneur.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, heard on KCAA Fridays, 3 p.m. Pacific. I'd like to talk to you about something I'm very passionate about. Those that know me know I love my coffee. In the morning, afternoon, and even late in the evening, I enjoy a good cup of coffee almost any time of the day. Now, my team at the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show has been working for several months on creating and introducing our own brand of coffee. We wanted to make sure that we got it just right. We don't want to put our name on anything unless we're 100% certain that it's the best product available, and we've finally done it. We have created a wonderful line of coffees, 13 fantastic flavors offered in whole bean, ground, and K-Cups. Any way you like to brew your coffee. Now, each of our coffees carries our brand, the very same brand that we put on our horses, our trailers, and our chaps. So you know that this is a quality product. And we only use 100% Arabica beans, the very best beans available. Just listen to some of these wonderful blends and flavors. Jamaican Me Crazy, Honduran San Marcos, Chocolate Cherry Amaretto, Breakfast Blend, and my very favorite, Haley's Blend. A coffee so good, we named it after my daughter. You can order these coffees today by going online to javacowboy.com. That's javacowboy.com. And if you order today, you can get an extra 10% off your final purchase just by entering the promo code COWBOY on checkout. Remember, that's promo code COWBOY for an extra 10% off. Just go to javacowboy.com to order your coffee today. Hello, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I want to tell you about a product I've tried and I love, and I feel the Cowboy Entrepreneur audience will as well. It's Rebellious Infusions. Rebellious Infusions, they're little packets of flavor. And you know, it gets hot in South Texas, over 100 degrees every day. And I like my water, but it's water. So I use these infusions, put them in my water. It makes it cold. It's great flavor, 0 sugar, 0 calories. It's pure energy infusions. Rebellious Infusions. Go to drinkrebellious.com or on all social media platforms. Drink Rebellious.
AM 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
Welcome to Quest. The Quest. Welcome to the quest for financial freedom. I'm your host, Paul LaJoy. I cannot even begin to tell you how excited I am about this show. The first time for it to hit Sacramento area, Northern California, and the entire state of California. The quest for financial freedom. Everyone is questing for something, if there's a word like that. When's the last time you went to Costco? Costco. I love oxtail. And the last time I went to Costco and I tried to buy oxtail, very expensive. Wow. Today, I went to grab something, food, at a sushi restaurant near my office here. And guess what happened? I ordered this unagi. Okay, that means this is eel over rice. I ordered this thing, and guess what? I saw the price. $28. Man, the last time I ordered unagi, that was way back when. And it was $18. How come it jumped to $28? If I keep eating out, I need to make at least $200,000 to live here in the Bay Area. Man, maybe $200,000 is not enough, because the average home here in the city of Newark, where I live, which is only 5 minutes away from Facebook and 7 minutes away from Tesla, 20 minutes away from Google, 25 minutes away from Apple. Can you imagine? Houses are so expensive. 1.3 million. Actually, what am I talking about? $1.5 million for a single family residence, which was only about $352,000 10 years ago. $352,000. The same house right now is $1.5 million, even though the market is a little soft. Inventory is still not there. If I continue earning only $200,000, and for most people, they don't earn that much. Some of them make $90,000. Some of them make $150,000. There's absolutely no way you can continue making that kind of money and live a lifestyle that you want to live. That is why I started a show called The Quest for Financial Freedom. If you're only rich, if you're one of those basketball players or one of those movie stars, one of those tech people, and you have a lot of money, maybe this show is not for you. But if you're like the rest of us, this show is for you. So go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere, and tell everybody, come and listen to it every week. Listen to it on podcasts, The Quest. So who am I? Who am I to tell you about this? Okay, I'm here, first of all, to educate, to enrich, and empower. The quest for financial freedom, or the quest at all, is to educate, to enrich, and empower, especially for those who are not part of the 1%, right? And if you're already part of 1%, then please help us. Help us to be able to educate the rest of us, to be able to enrich the rest of us, to be able to empower the rest of us. And I'm not talking about going to college again. No, I'm talking about a different kind of education. And stay tuned as we go along. I'll tell you what I mean. So who am I? Well, I'm an accomplished international speaker, author, and mentor. I've spoken in places like Canada, Toronto. I was born in a poor village in Cameroon, Africa, in a mud house without any running water. Can you imagine that? I had to walk for miles to school. To school as a little kid, 4 years old, attending elementary school. I walked for miles, and I did that for 7 years. No bike, no cars, nothing. Can't even begin to tell you. But I did not allow that to deter me. I did not allow that to handicap me. I always had a vision. It has to be better than this. You can read that in one of my books. It's called Canaan Hiroko. You can find it on Amazon. My name is Paul Joy. I'm your host. So, as I said, I was born in a mud house in Africa without any running water at all. But I became well educated. They actually sent me to England to study radio, film, and television production. And today I'm a multilingual. I speak different languages. I've traveled, besides living in England, traveled to Asia, and I've been in California, Silicon Valley, again, just 5 minutes away from Facebook, 7 minutes away from Tesla, 20 minutes away from Google, 25 minutes away from Apple. There's movers and shakers in the Bay Area. I have learned a lot. I've done all kinds of stuff. I'm a techie, but I have such a vast experience in the realm of real estate, mortgage, and now insurance. I'm here to help shed some light how we can use the language, the expertise, the experience that I have to educate, enrich, and empower you, my listener. Now, let's go ahead. You probably heard about this great resignation, the great resignation. So people are always leaving jobs, right? I left my full-time job as a program manager over here in Silicon Valley back in 2005. But before that, I left a great job in Taiwan where everything was going for me, right? I had my TV show, I had books I'd written, I had people who were following me. But I decided to leave Taiwan because it was about time. And sometimes I look back and I regret, why did I leave that behind? And come to California, an expensive place, and start all over again. Why? So many regrets I've had, and that's for another show. But we'll talk about great resignation. So I came here as a program manager, worked in Silicon Valley, and then I got a real estate license, 2005. My phone was ringing off the hook. Everybody wanted to buy real estate. So I thought, well, let's resign from the full-time job in the cubicle and go somewhere else, do something way better. And that was real estate. And you all know what happened after 2007. It crashed. And I kind of started regretting, why did I leave my full-time comfortable job to be a real estate person? So people leave for different reasons. So 2009, about close to 2 million people left their jobs. 1.8 million people left their jobs, for some reason. And I'll go into that later. But last year, 2021, a whopping close to 5 million people left their jobs. They left their jobs. Great resignation. Why? Okay, the top reason is of course, because of salary. Most people left their jobs because they weren't happy with the salaries. I bet if in 2005, my salary was 3 times what I was making, I probably would have taught twice before leaving, right? So 17% of all people that left their jobs left because of the salary. Some left because of COVID-19 concerns. Others left because of work-life balance. Others left because of working conditions, career advancement, okay? And they were let go. Some of them left because they were let go, but that's about 8%. 17% left because of the salary. They were not happy with the salary. 7% left because of career change, self-employment. Only 5% of the people left because they wanted to employ themselves, okay? But that's a significant number as well, okay? Safety concerns, lack of remote work, 4%. Vaccine mandates, 3%. A lot of people left because They were mandated to take a vaccine, and if you did not take the vaccine, then you had to leave. I remember my friend had worked for the city of Oakland for many years, 17 or more years, but he had to quit the city of Oakland to go and work in the city of Pittsburgh because it was mandated to do what? To take the vaccine in the city of Oakland. And he didn't want to do that. And a lot of people did that too. Okay, here's the problem. You got like 85% of Americans don't love their jobs. 85% of Americans don't love their jobs. Yet they go to work grudgingly every day, Monday to Friday, okay, just to make ends meet, to put food on the table. Wow, that's interesting. The cost of living keeps going up, such as even those who love their jobs, like teachers, like police officers, firefighters, or others, keep working, right? They cannot keep up with the cost of living. So I'm talking about 85% of the people don't like their jobs. And even those people that love their jobs, they cannot keep up with the cost of living. Okay? And it's not because there's inflation now, but it's always been the case. Now, the next thing is, many of those who quit and start their own businesses and prepared, and so the failure rate is pretty high. Okay, that's a problem, right? The problem, 85% of the people don't love their jobs, and those who love their jobs cannot make ends meet. And those who quit their jobs to start their own careers, okay, their own jobs, their own businesses, a lot of them fail. So that's a huge problem. Today we're talking about what? Okay, you're on my show. And the name of the show is The Quest for Financial Freedom. By the way, this show is brought to you by the Money Market Inc., the Amazon for mortgage solutions. If you're looking to buy a property, especially in this market where we're seeing values dropping and stuff like that, this is a great time to buy a property. Yes, even you're an investor or you are a first-time home buyer, the Money Market is a place to go to. Go to that website, themoneymarketinc.com, themoneymarketinc.com. And if you're watching this or listening to this on a cell phone, right, please go to the moneymarket.us, themoneymarket.us. They are the Amazon for mortgage solutions. For first-time home buyers, they can give you up to what? No money down, absolutely no money down to buy your first home. If you haven't owned a home for the last 2 years, this is a great time to buy, especially now that the values are dropping. Okay? It's a great time to buy. If you're an investor, this is a great time to buy too. You can buy without any money down, believe it or not, because the money market will give you the gap funding. They provide everything from FHA loans all the way to commercial loans, industrial loans, okay, conventional loans, jumbo loans. Even they fund anything from $100,000 to over $100 million, and they fund locally and internationally. You're listening to The Quest for Financial Freedom. Now let's carry on. Right. So what's the solution? We talked about the problem. The problem is that 85% of the people in America don't love their jobs. They go to school and study very hard. You know, the parents work hard and send them to college. They graduate, and yet 85% of the people don't love their jobs. Wow. And for those who love their jobs, some of them still don't make enough money. So people go to work, 85% of people go to work and they don't love their jobs. But those who love their jobs, their salaries suck. Some of them, not all of them. And some of them, we said 5% of them quit their jobs to start their own businesses, and the failure rate is pretty high. So what is the solution then? You see, when you watch television, you know, when you watch basketball, for example, you watch Stephen Curry play, what do you see? You see someone who's like super happy, right? Who doesn't work all those hours that we work. He certainly doesn't fall within that category of 85% of the people that don't like their jobs. He Doesn't fall within that category of people that love their jobs, but their salaries suck. And certainly, it doesn't fall within that third category of people that quit their jobs to start their own businesses and then they fail. So, what is the secret here? The secret is basically that, okay, I'm going to give you some solutions. We create some problems. We'll talk about some problems. And let's talk about some solutions. Solution number one, okay, is actually find something that you really love to do, something that you really love to do, something that people really need, and become excellent at it. Whether it's sports or like Stephen Curry or Tesla, like Elon Musk, and anything at all. Whether you're Brad Pitt, you find something that you really love to do. And become something that people really love or they need. And you become so good at it, just like Elon Musk becomes so good at creating this wonderful machine called Tesla. Okay? Just like Stephen Curry is so mesmerizing when he plays. Becomes so good at what you do. Not just good, but excellent at what you do. People will give you what you want. Become so excellent at what you do, and then establish a lasting legacy for yourself, your family, and generations to come. Hey, let me give some examples. Okay, you got people like Michael Jordan. Do you think Michael Jordan will ever be poor? Do you think that his family will ever be poor? This is someone who discovered what he really loved to do and became so good at it, and he was paid handsomely. Everywhere he went, people loved to see him play. How about Stephen Curry? How about Klay Thompson? How about Draymond Green, for those of you who are in the Bay Area? How about Simone Biles? How about Michael Phelps? How about TV and movie moguls like Oprah Winfrey, Steve Harvey, Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt, Denzel Washington, Tyler Perry? These are people who discovered their triad of awesomeness. The triad of awesomeness. And what's a triad? That you find what you really love to do, you become so good at it, that means excellent. That's your dream job. And that pays you well. It's second nature to you. Today we're talking about what? Yes, this show is called The Quest for Financial Freedom. And today we're just laying the foundation. By the way, it's coming to you from somebody who was born in a mud house in Africa, a house without any running water. My first book in America was called It's Impossible to Be Poor in America. Even though I find that 45 million people who are considered poor in America. Who gives me the audacity to talk about that? But I'm here to inspire. I'm here to educate, and I'm here to enrich and empower you. If you're watching this or listening to this, wherever you are, know that I'm here for you. I'm here to assist you. So we'll talk about solution number one, is to find something that you really love to do, something that people really need, okay, and become so good at it. That's solution number one. Let's talk about solution number two. And then I'll come to you and tell you what you should be doing if you're not happy with this. So stay tuned. Listen to the end. And if you are listening to this on podcast, listen to it over and over. Okay? If you're watching this on YouTube, watch it over and over. And please, share it. Okay, solution number two. Raise huge capital and build a huge company, like a system. That's one system. That one solution you can provide. Talk about the quest to the quest for financial freedom. Number one is to find something you really love to do, become excellent at it, something that people really need. That's your number one solution. Let's say you can't find that. Second thing is what? You raise money, raise capital. Maybe you live in California, right? There's a lot of money around, even though now the economy is doing a little bit, okay? But there's still a lot of money. So you have an idea, raise huge capital, and build a huge company, okay? Create massive jobs and have people work for you, work the system for you. This is what you see in companies like Facebook, Google, Apple, LinkedIn, YouTube, Tesla, and the rest. So that's a solution to financial freedom, right? So they got this idea. For example, Mark Zuckerberg, he just had an idea of connecting people. And he's connecting people. He went to Microsoft and told them about this vision that he had. Wanted to connect people. And then guess what happened? They gave him $250 million in exchange for 5% ownership of Facebook. Okay, there's a company called Compass. This guy came and he pitched his idea to SoftBank, the Japanese company. He pitched his idea to SoftBank, and SoftBank gave him $450 million. Now Compass is one of the largest real estate companies in the world, okay, at least in America. His idea was 20-20-20. By the year 2020, he will occupy 20% of the top 20 markets. Okay? Occupy 20% market share of the top 20 markets in America. They believed in him, they gave him the money, and then guess what? Today, he's financially free. Because with that money, he was able to hire people, to work his vision. Okay, number one was that your path to financial freedom could be what? Yes, you find something that you really love to do, you become so good at it, and something that people really need. And guess what you do? You share that idea with people, and you're going to be financially free. Number two is you have an idea, and this idea is huge. You go raise some huge capital, like Facebook did, like Google did, like all these companies did, even Apple, okay? And then hire people to work that idea for you. And that's how you become financially free. That's solution number two. Now let's look at solution number three. Solution number three is basically you can buy a franchise, a successful franchise, and have others work for you. Franchise, you can buy a McDonald's, a Wendy's, a Burger King, Massage Envy, Taco Bell, Baskin Robbins, a Subway, Dunkin' Donuts, Domino's Pizza, Pizza Hut. You can buy any of these successful franchises. Okay, and buy it. Maybe we pay $1 million, or some of them only $25,000, and you have other people working for you. You're gonna get some capital, working capital. You have people working for you. Guess what? You can be financially free. Picture you test one that's successful, okay, and then you go buy another one before you realize you got 10 of these things, and you don't have to work yourself. People are always looking for jobs. But if you are in a quest for financial freedom, I tell you, one of the things that you could do is to buy a franchise. Okay, that is solution number three. So number one was basically find something that you really love to do, become so good at it, something that people need, which is like sports people, right? I mentioned Stephen Curry. Or you raise capital and go find yourself, build a company like Google, Facebook. And number three, I talked about, go get a franchise. Now, let's take, that is not good enough. Okay, there are other ways you can become financial free. Create technology that disrupts established industries and creates mass opportunity for all. See, it happened for companies like Uber, Lyft, and Airbnb. So they just created the technology. They just created the technology And they don't have to own anything. Really. They don't own those cars. Uber doesn't own those cars. Uber doesn't employ those people. They just have the technology. It's just an app. It's just an app. Okay? Airbnb doesn't own those homes, those rooms. They just created an app. We talk about the path to financial freedom. We talk about your quest for financial freedom. So if you're listening to this and you're not financially free, today I'm here to do what? I'm here to educate, enrich, and empower. If you have any questions, by all means, you can email me at lejoy@themoneymarket.us. Lejoy, LEJOY @themoneymarket.us. Or go to my website. Our website is themoneymarket.us. The Money Market, THE, themoneymarket.us. I'll be more than happy to address any questions that you may have. You can find me on LinkedIn, just Google Paul LeJoy. Okay, on Facebook, just Google the Money Market, right? But we want to talk about this, right? The quest for financial freedom. America is still the greatest country in the world. It might not be as beautiful as some of the parts that I've been to around the world. Like I've been to Singapore so many times, okay? I've been to Bali Island, Indonesia. Yeah, but America is still a great country that many people envy. There's no other country in the world that people come to as much as they come to America. It's a melting pot. China might be catching up, but China is pretty much a homogeneous country. And I know Americans are going to Shanghai and other places like that. There's no country quite as attractive as the United States of America. Yet you find people who are starving here. I wonder why. But that's for another day. Today we're talking about your quest for financial freedom. And that's my show, Quest for Financial Freedom. And coming forward, as you stay tuned on this show, I'm going to bring people who have found that quest. The people that have fulfilled that quest. People that are financially free. Okay, so I talked about what? The first thing is to find something that you really love to do. You become excellent at it. Something that people need. You get paid handsomely. Get paid handsomely. Number two is that you can create an idea like Facebook did, that Google did, and go raise the capital. That people that are looking for ideas. Number three is to create this. You can buy a franchise. There are already franchises there, like McDonald's, successful franchises out there. Just buy one of them. And number four is basically create a disruptive technology. Really, apps are plenty nowadays. You can create yours. Just like Uber, Lyft, and Airbnb did. Then you become financially free. But the average person that listens to me might not be able to do any of these things that I just mentioned. Okay, let's mention the next one. Number 5. Okay, another way that you can become financially free is own what? Real estate. And hire a world-class property management company and have people paying you rent forever. This can be residential, commercial, or industrial property. Imagine if you had just bought real estate when the market was really low. If you had bought real estate back then in 2012, and you bought, one of my friends, one of my agents actually, he bought some properties in Berkeley by the university. He bought Ariel's bank-owned properties. And today that guy doesn't have to work. He does not have to work, right? So that's one way to become financially free, to buy real estate, rental properties. And you get what? Cash flow as well as appreciation and tax write-offs. That's another way to become financially free. We're talking about your quest for financial freedom. Or today, different steps to become financially free. So let's talk about number 6. Okay, you can have an inexpensive sales system that's already proven. and an inexpensive sales system that's already proven. Maybe you're not so good at sports, you're not a good actor, but so you have to know people. Even if you're very good at sports, I mean, the competition is so intense. You have to be so good to play for the Warriors. And if you're playing for the Warriors, you only need a few people to play there. So it might not fit you. Okay? And you may not have that big idea to raise capital to build a big company like Facebook and Google. You may not have the money to buy a franchise, right? To buy a franchise. You may not have the money to buy a franchise. Or you may not even like the idea of a franchise, of employing people, right? You may not like that idea. You may not be smart enough to build something that's disruptive, like these guys have done, right? The creators of Lyft and Uber and Airbnb. You may not be smart enough to do that. So you can say, woe is me. I'm not any of these. I tell you what, no, woe is you. You still have the opportunity to be financially free. And I want to present that to you. Find something that's already existing that people are making money out of, and do what? Plug into it. Learn from it. Learn from it. Learn from those people. Be humble enough to learn. And you become good at it. It costs you very little or nothing. It doesn't cost you what a franchise will cost you. You don't need to employ so many people. You don't need to employ anybody at all. Nobody at all. Just plug into a system that's working, that's proving. It's just sales. You say, oh, I'm not a good salesperson. No, you don't need to be a sales. What is a good salesperson? It's somebody who just says, man, I am not happy where I am right now. Because if you continue to do the things that you do and expect different results, you are what? That's insanity. If I continue doing what I am doing, which is just transactions, one transaction after another, right? As most realtors do what? They just chase transaction after another. There's no system. There's nothing that's duplicable. The key path to success, to financial freedom, is to plug into a system that is very low entry, okay? And is plug and play. Plug and play. Imagine if you are listening to this and you're a real estate agent. Imagine all those years you've been working as a real estate agent. If only you had a system whereby your clients were not just your clients, but your clients were what? Your potential partners. So when you sell a property, right? You sell the property and you move on. Like the guy, when he sold me a property here, I haven't seen him since. He sold me that property. He made $30-something thousand, okay, back in 2004. And imagine if that guy had a system where he could show me how I could become like him. Because 1 year later, I got my license. If that guy just showed me, hey, Paul, I got a way that you can become like me. You can get your license as well. And by the way, it's Paul. I can help you build this thing. I can help you put 3 people on the year. And as you make money, okay, you get paid a portion of that. And the people that put under you, all I want you to do, I'm going to train you. I'm going to give you all the power, Paul. I'm going to give you all the power, Paul, to become so good, maybe even better than me, okay, depending on your hunger. You could become so good like me, Paul, and guess what? Be fruitful and multiply. And if that guy had just done that, okay, I would have gotten the license, I would have gotten all the skills, and he would have gotten paid out of everything that I made. And the people that I brought on, because guess what? When I got licensed as a real estate person, my first transaction was $925,000. And I didn't even know how to sell. I didn't sell at all. I just gave somebody a flyer. And they were looking. At that time, 2005, the market was hot. And this girl wanted a bigger property. And guess what she did? Somebody gave me a flyer. The property was on the market. I gave a flyer to another colleague who gave the flyer to the girl that wanted to buy this property off market. And then I did what? And then from there, I listed her condo. I got 8 offers on her property, and the person that bought that property, the condo, was another colleague. From that one deal, I made what? I think it goes like $40,000 in no time. Imagine if that guy who sold me my property back then had told me, hey, Paul, I could be like, you could be like me, Paul. Imagine if he had only educated me, he would have, through that education, enriched me and empowered me to be like him and then build me up. Guess what? He would have made money from me, not only from the sale, that first sale that he did. He would have made that first sale, okay? And he would have made all that money, $30-something thousand, and everything else that I made when I became like him or I became a realtor. And then guess what? Through my success, and if he taught me how to do the stuff, how to replicate myself, duplicate myself, I could have duplicated other people, my colleagues. And my colleagues, what? Would say, Paul, I would have just taken people out to lunch and say, give them lobster and all that kind of stuff. And through that, they said, whoa, where you get all this money from, right? And I said, yeah, you can be like me. You can be exactly like me. Get your license, and you can also treat other people because you know people that I don't know. Imagine, because if you concentrate only on transactions, you're not going to make it. For example, people are just doing what? Nowadays, okay, the market's going up, the market's going down, you're not sure. When the market was a buyer's market, a seller's market, you make an offer as a buyer's agent, you're not sure your offer is going to be accepted. So many offers on one property. I'm astounded by that. How do you think that your offer is going to be accepted when your offer is number 5, number 6? And people that offers have been written on that property, only one person is going to get that property. And then you have 40 offers. Terrible time to be a buyer's agent. Now the market's changed. And those buyer's agents now, okay, they could, the seller's agents now are begging the buyer's agent, hey, because of inflation, interest rates being higher and stuff like that. But imagine this. Okay, an agent is depending only on his own production, her own production, and not the production of a team. Imagine that if that agent, when she started, she was taught to build a team, okay, and to get paid for everything that everybody does, and to build people up. Imagine this: that agent will be financially free. For example, when was the last time that the boss of your company, if you're watching this or listening to this, the boss of your company came down to I'm talking about a CEO, maybe you're working for a big company, and there's a CEO, there is a CFO, there's a CTO, and you have COO, all those people, right? The big guys, right? When's the last time any of them came down to the level of the worker? The worker, right there, the guy at the factory floor, on the factory floor. When the last time Elon Musk ever went to the workers on the factory floor and said, I can teach you everything that I know. I can empower you to be like me. Can you imagine that? If that was the case, okay, let's take Apple. So Apple, for example, builds, as you know, the iPhone and the rest of the stuff. Imagine that if Steve Jobs, the late Steve Jobs, or the new CEO that's there now, came down and empowered all those workers, all those engineers, and say, you know what? Why don't you build something? I give you all the money, all the skills, everything, all the power, all the freedom to go and build stuff, okay? And whoever you hire and whoever joins your team, you get paid for that person, whatever. And so guess what? I am going to give you, okay, 65% of the profit from your own efforts. 65% of the profit from your effort will be given to you. Apple is now a $2 trillion company. Can you imagine how big Apple would be if Apple were to empower its workers to replicate themselves, to duplicate themselves, and get rewarded for their own efforts, get rewarded, not just bonuses, but they get a fraction, actually, they get a commission, 60% of the profit going to them. And then the people in their team get rewarded. Wow. You will have, Apple will be worth more than $2 trillion. Apple will worth way more. That is a thing I want to talk to you about. So if you're listening to me, I'm talking about the quest for financial freedom. And today I laid it out. 6 ways to be financially free. I talked about becoming like an athlete, right? But how many teams do you have in the world? You don't have a lot. Becoming so good at what you do, you know, maybe your job, but even became good at what you do at your job, okay? What are the chances that your income is going to triple? What's the chances? What are the chances? What are the chances that they're going to promote you and give you a portion of the company? So the other thing I talked about is basically go raise capital, have a big idea like Facebook, and go raise capital and build this thing, change the world. How many of us can do that? Okay, the other one was basically go get a franchise. You may not like the franchise, you may not like the idea, or you may not have the money to buy a franchise. Listen to me today. Next one is basically disruptive technology. Okay? Oh, go create an app. But how many people have the smarts to create an app that's going to disrupt? There's so many apps out there. Many starving app developers, right? So, but I talked about what is there's turnkey sales. Sales. And I'm talking about not going to, I'm talking about I have something that will blow your mind. Okay. So, and this happened because, you know, I watched these guys when I had a big brokerage firm, a relatively big, right? Here in the Fremont, Newark area, you know, and these guys used to come to my office and try to sell insurance, okay, life insurance and stuff. It did not occur to me, you know, and they said, go get your license. I got an insurance license way back in 2004, even before I got a real estate license. But then I wasn't exposed to the right people. I'll go to this guy's office, always talk about buy term and invest the difference. Buy term and invest the difference. And then I had people from WFG talking to me about insurance. And then I gave them opportunity to present to my agents, right? But it never resonated with me until in July, last month, I went and got the license again. And as I was coming out of the exam hall and I was driving from Santa Clara to my office in Newark, the idea of a triangle came to mind. And triangle is what? Okay, so I've been doing real estate since 2005, and I have a mortgage company, and I see the value of the mortgage company, and I see people's financials. Okay, some people want to buy, but they don't have any money. And how are they able to live in the Bay Area? How are they able to live at all? And some of them are working. What's the future? And some have been working for a long time. And they're in their 50s and they have no savings, nothing. What's the solution? What's the solution? Okay, so now I got this insurance license. Now I have three things: real estate, right? And then you have what? Mortgage, and then insurance. Real estate is what people showcase. Whether you are a millionaire or you're just making $100,000, you want to buy your own home. It's part of the American dream. And then, of course, to do that, most people are not able to buy real estate cash. So what they're gonna do? They're gonna get a loan. You're gonna get a loan, and that loan is gonna do what? It's gonna help them buy that asset. But how do you protect that asset? How do you protect the asset? You protect the asset with insurance. First of all, you're going to buy the hazard insurance, okay? And the second thing is basically, but what happens? Hazard insurance only for 1 year, and the lender requires that you have that. But what happens if something were to happen to you? If you were to lose a job, who's going to protect that? What's going to protect that? Insurance. How about if you were to become disabled? What's going to protect that asset and prevent it from going to foreclosure? Insurance. What if you died? What if something happened to you? What's going to protect the asset? It's insurance, life insurance. So life insurance is basically life. It's love. You're giving love to your family, love to yourself. Okay, you have living benefits. If something were to happen to you, you have living benefits to continue living the life, the quality of life. Okay, so that you can replace that income. But the beauty about this is not just that, is that now I can show people how to make money with these little this triangle that I have. And I've joined this group of people, and I saw one of my friends that used to come to my office, and the idea never resonated with me. And I saw how he, in 2019, he made $500,000. In 2020, he made $750,000. In 2021, he made $1 million. And this year, 2022, he made $2 million. We're talking about the power of compound interest, compound growth. Wow, it's amazing. This guy doesn't have any employees. This guy doesn't have any offices. This guy doesn't have any overhead. He just plugged into a system, and he developed leaders. And now he's set for life. Can you imagine that? The guy that he hired, he is at $3.5 million. The guy that he brought to this system, the plug and play system that I'm talking about, the guy is making this year $3.5 million. And the guy that this guy brought, okay, are all doctors. Okay, and you don't have to be a doctor. The guy that this guy brought, making $4 million. Amazing stuff. This is the path to financial freedom. So today I talked about different ways to become financially free. Okay, I mentioned about becoming so good at what you do maybe you want to be an athlete and stuff, but how many people can do that? I talked about raising capital to build a big company like Facebook or Google or Tesla. Okay, but how many people can do that? I talked about buying a franchise, but how many people can do that? I talked about starting disruptive technology like Airbnb and Uber and Lyft, but how many people can do that? But I talked about, okay, buying real estate. Buying real estate is another thing, but how many people can do that? Okay, how many people can do that? How many people, you listen to me, do you have the money to buy real estate that cash flows? If you live in California, is it going to cash flow? Is it going to make you financially free? I doubt it. Then I talk about the last thing, low entry point, very little expense, less than $500. And before Christmas this year, you can start doing this thing, and you can join a great company of people that are there wanting to be a CEO. want you to be a CEO. You can be a CEO. If you're open-minded, if you're passionate, if you're hungry, if you have a quest to be financially free, you can be that person. Thank you so much for listening to me today. This show was brought to you by the Money Market Inc., the Amazon for mortgage solutions. Go to www.themoneymarket.us. themoneymarket.us. I look forward to seeing you next week. This is Paul Joy. It's going to be exciting. Next week, I'm going to have someone on the show who is an exhibit of what I'm talking about. You must listen to this. Thank you.
Talk 102.3 FM Riverside. Thank you, America, for making us radio's number one format for 8 years. Talk 102.3 FM Riverside. KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
The Native Sons of the Golden West Arrowhead Parlor is a non-profit historical chapter and part of a statewide organization. And now, after 50 years at Data Del Rosa in San Bernardino, right next to the 210 off-ramp, the 135-year-old Native Sons of the Golden West Arrowhead Chapter 110 has sold their building. Join them this Saturday, that's right, this Saturday from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. for their property estate clearance sale. It's on, wall to wall, lots of deals and great items. The brothers are liquidating everything, all of their furnishings, dishware, restaurant kitchen appliances, dishes, bar items, and a pristine 1950s Brunswick Anniversary Edition pool table. There are also countless other items you may just find you need, and it's open to everyone. Escrow closes at the end of the month, and everything must go. They must be out. The Native Sons may be moving on, but they're not quitting. But they don't want to take any of this stuff with them. So remember, get down there early. The fun begins at 8 a.m. this Saturday. See you there early for the best bargains.
This segment is sponsored by Press Print, Southern California's best full-service union printer and mail house. They offer the lowest prices around with unmatched service and reliability and free delivery throughout SoCal. Press Print can print anything from letterhead, business cards, and campaign literature to mailers of any size, lawn signs, banners, door hangers, or just about anything you might want. Press Print promises to save money for you, your business, or your campaign. If you'd like to learn more, contact Mike Kroonbryn at Pressprint 714-399-8708. Get the union bug. Karen and the staff at It's a Dog's World Canine Academy reminds listeners this summer, never leave your pets alone in parked cars with the windows closed, as dehydration, heat stroke, and death can occur in just minutes. So make sure they have a steady supply of water and shade. This message from It's a Dog's World Canine Academy in Chino, teaching people how dogs